I just woke up and it's in the evening, and episode 4 of The Rings of Power hasn't come out yet at the time of recording this video. But I just had to make a video because I wanted to talk about episode 1. You see, when episode 1 started off, it was so jarring that even though the other several episodes happened, we got 3 of them, and I watched them all in one night. But after that first opening scene, it just sunk into me in a way that I just couldn't get rid of. And there was a bunch of retarded stuff that happened over the next several episodes. But then I went to bed, and some time passed, and I just couldn't get over that opening scene. And so, let me show you here. And what we have is Season 2, Episode 1. And you have this guy coming in, if it shows it, sometime today. You know, he's slowly walking in, and they're at, what is this place called? 10 seconds back, let's see.
But today, a new age begins.
So you have Sauron making a speech. Look at this guy. Now, I don't know what the deal is. Look at this guy. Just take a look at this guy. And look at these orcs in this room. He's standing here making a speech. And as time goes on, they don't believe him. Like, he's having a little bit of trouble. He's having trouble convincing them.
We will forge a new and perfect order.
This orc is going to kill him.
Hunted as the demons who broke Middle-earth. But rather,
no one respects him. And then you have an orc attack him. This is after he kills the orc.
I am your only future!
And that's Sauron. And after he gets attacked and he gets killed, there he is. He gets killed. And then he turns into Venom the symbiote, and he goes on, you know, this journey. And I was just like, I don't know, like, as time went on, I just kept thinking to myself, that's Sauron? And it just felt so weak. Like, it was just such weak sauce. And as episode 1 continued on, and we're doing all this other crap, and, you know, he's Venom the symbiote, and then he meets this old guy, and we go back to the elves and Adar, and, you know, just things carry on, and I just kept thinking to myself, what is this? Like I just kept going back to it, like, that's Sauron? That's who that is? Because even Halbrand had more gravitas, but there was no gravitas in this scene. There was no masculinity. There's almost no masculinity of any kind in this show whatsoever. But this guy seems so so weak. And I just kept thinking, like, well, is this like a dream, or is this an imposter? Maybe he's some kind of imposter, or he's faking it. And it wasn't. Like, this was really Sauron, and I just couldn't get past it. And I was reminded by this other opening scene in Season 1. Whenever there's that recap, you know, and the guy's like, you know, a stone sinks and a boat floats, and that kind of thing. And there's this other opening scene that I want to show you. And it's here. It's in the opening battle. Remember when Galadriel's talking and she's describing the past series of events with Morgoth or whatever. And I want to show you this. Look at this.
Ever greater, under the command of his most devoted servant, a cruel and cunning sorcerer. They called him Sauron.
Why didn't they do that? He comes out in this amazing, I just don't understand, why didn't they do that? Just imagine with me. Okay, I was thinking about this earlier. Imagine that Season 2 opens up, and Season 2, and you have this kind of setting right here, this backdrop right here, and you have an orc walking out on this stage, and Yeah, I was just stay with me, okay? Just imagine this. The orc walks out on this stage, and he starts screaming to all these other orcs, and not just a room full of like 20 orcs or whatever, but like all of these orcs right here. And he starts telling them, he's like, "We were forsaken," or something like that, and our leader Morgoth, he's been killed, and it looks like hope has been lost, and we've lost this world war, but we have a new savior, we have a new leader, and he's going to lead us, and he's going to take care of us. And then let's say that it pans over to the other side of the screen, and it zooms in, and you just see, and all the orcs are out there in the crowd, and all the orcs are like, yeah, yeah, and they're all just like hitting their spears, on the ground. Maybe the whole scene opens up like that. Like you hear this thump, 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 and it starts getting louder and louder, and the screen fades away from black, and you can hear the sound of spears hitting the ground, and it's orcs, and it's like, yeah, yeah, and then the orc gives that quick speech, and he introduces Sauron, and then it zooms into like the feet, and you see the feet of Sauron like walking out on the stage, and all of a sudden all the demeanors of the orcs start changing, and instead of like passion, there's this reverence that just takes over their face. There's this almost fear of a like a god is approaching them. And Sauron walks out on the stage, and the camera starts to pan out, and then some of the orcs in the crowd start hitting their spears on the ground again, and they're like, Sauron, Sauron, and the noise starts picking up after silence, and Sauron, as he's walking out, it starts to pan away from him, and then it shows the other orc that was on the stage, and he's like cowering in fear, like he's in the presence of God. He's like, ah, and Sauron, and it starts to zoom, and instead of zooming in like this shot, we start with a close-up of him like this, and the whole shot goes backwards, and Sauron walks out on stage like this, and it zooms in, and you get the full body, and it keeps zooming out, and all the orcs start chanting all at once, Sauron, Sauron, and they're hitting, and as the camera keeps panning out, you notice there's not just 100 orcs in that room, there's not just 1,000 orcs in that room. It just keeps zooming out. There's tens of thousands in this castle. And the camera zooms out, and then it zooms out coming from a window inside the castle, and it zooms away from the castle itself. The camera picks up speed, and all around the castle, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of orcs. And then the music kicks up, and you want to talk about member berries? How about the old music starts blending in with the new music, and it kicks in, and it's like, da-na-na, dun dun dun, dun-na-na, dun dun dun, dun-na-na, dun-na-na, dun dun dun. You know the Lord of the Rings music, whenever there was like the two towers and they were showing Sauron's army, and it keeps panning out, and there's hundreds of thousands of armies of orcs and goblins all scattered throughout these lands, and there's trolls walking around, and there's spiders on the mountain, and there's like dragons flying through the sky, and all kinds of creatures. And it keeps zooming out, and you see the silhouette of this castle, and behind is just this giant orange sky, like the sky is orange, and you see the castle, this long, dark, black castle, and as the scene continues to pander out and fade out, everything becomes blurry except the sky and this tall, black castle in the middle, and it starts to what looks like an eye, a giant eye, and it's like, that's the eye of Sauron! Oh my god! That's who he is! The Dark Lord Satan! It's like, why didn't you do something like that? What is this? You have this other guy from this other scene who looks like he works for Chick-fil-A. He's in this scene, and it's like, who is this guy? He's here, and he's talking to like a room full of 20 orcs. Look at this. Look at this guy. Adar's about to anoint him, and he's weak sauce. the orcs don't want to follow him? Look at this. Look at this. It's so bland and still. Look, that's Sauron. Why didn't they have that? Where's his armor? Where's his spear? Where's the legions and the armies of the orcs that are just like, yeah, that's our Sauron, you know, and the dragons and stuff. Where's all of that? And instead you get the guy who works for Chick-fil-A, and he looks like the guy who drove me home in the Uber the other day, and a room full of 20 orcs, and he gets killed easily. Does the other guy, the guy in the armor, the Sauron of old that we know, this is him at his prime, does he look like he would be killed by 20 orcs? No, not even close. And so this guy, he turns into Venom the symbiote, and then he goes on the journey of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, where he's just flipping around the countryside. I saw him come out of that mountain. He comes out of this mountain in this scene. You know, in the next scene, you know, he turns into Venom the symbiote. He comes out of that mountain. And I'm watching it and I'm just like, what is this? Why didn't he stay in it? And then he flips and he goes on a journey and he falls over a rock and then he turns into good old Halbrand. And it's like, what are we doing here? This is Sauron, and then he sits by a campfire and cries because he was betrayed. This is the Lord of the Ring, the one who made the one ring to rule them all. One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all, and then the darkness bind them. This is the guy who says, I want to enslave the world. I want to enslave the world. And instead, we get Mr. Hey, Chick-fil-A, let me serve you up. Where is this soy cuck at? This guy right here. And they're killing him, 20 orcs. Mr. Oh, I'm the Lord of Evil. However, would you like a large fry or a small fry and maybe some dipping sauce? But where's the one ring? It's just like, what is this? But it was so off-putting. And it just echoed in my mind and in my soul. For the next several episodes, I just kept thinking to myself, that's Sauron. Imagine if they opened with my opening, the way I described it. They had the budget, most TV show ever made. Imagine if they opened up with this incredible and this gravitas and in his armor, and there's legions and armies. You would feel it. It'd be like, oh my god, season 2's, it's actually, could this be good? Oh my god, you would feel it. And instead they open up in like this cheap high school theater, a guy who works for Chick-fil-A, about 20 orcs, and he's trying to do this, hey guys, believe in me. It was the worst opening you could have started with. It was such weak sauce. And I can't believe it. From that, you know, could have been this right here. Could have been this.
Cunning sorcerer.
And just imagine, like, the sky is all orange in the background, and then there's like you know, you keep zooming out and there's giant beasts and fell beasts flying around, and it's just, oh my, it could have been cool. But no, we didn't get this. We didn't get this cool shot. We have Mr. I work for fast food, part-time job, Sauron, who gets betrayed and then cries. I thought it was stupid, and I wanted to share my thoughts, but I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button on my channel. All you gotta do is make a YouTube account, which is free, and then hitting the subscribe button is also free. I talk about movies, TV shows, gaming, anime, and all kinds of pop culture stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and have a great freaking day.